In the aftermath of the Great War, the world was haunted by an invisible enemy. Not bullets or gas, but bacteria. A simple scratch, a minor wound, could swiftly become a death sentence. In London, at St. Mary's Hospital, a Scottish scientist named Alexander Fleming was fighting this war. He was brilliant, dedicated, but notoriously untidy. His laboratory was a chaotic landscape of glassware, notes, and forgotten experiments. In the summer of 1928, Fleming took a well-deserved holiday. Upon his return, he began the tedious task of cleaning a stack of Petri dishes he had left piled on his bench. He was about to discard one when something caught his eye. The dish, meant to be growing colonies of Staphylococcus bacteria, had been contaminated by a stray mold spore. This was a common annoyance for any bacteriologist. But this was different. Around the patch of blue-green mold, there was a clear, perfect circle, a zone of death where the bacteria had been completely wiped out. Many would have thrown it away. But Fleming was a true scientist. He was intrigued. He carefully cultivated the mold, identifying it as a member of the Penicillium family. He discovered that it was producing a substance, a mold juice as he called it, that was astonishingly effective at killing a wide range of deadly bacteria. He named this substance penicillin. Fleming published his findings in 1929, but the world barely noticed. His discovery was a scientific curiosity, but little more. The substance was incredibly unstable and difficult to produce in any significant quantity. For nearly a decade, the greatest medical breakthrough of the century sat on a shelf, a forgotten footnote in a scientific journal. The world continued to suffer, and Fleming himself moved on to other research. The story could have ended there. But as the world teetered on the brink of a second global conflict, two scientists at Oxford University, Howard Florey and Ernst Chain, began a systematic search for natural antibacterial agents. They stumbled upon Fleming's old paper. Where Fleming saw a scientific challenge, they saw a potential weapon, a drug that could save soldiers from the infections that killed more than bullets. Their work was a desperate race against time. With Britain under siege, resources were scarce. They turned their laboratory into a makeshift factory, growing the precious mold in anything they could find. Bedpans, milk churns, even bathtubs. They painstakingly purified the unstable compound, producing tiny, precious amounts of a yellow-brown powder. In 1941, they were ready for their first human trial. Their patient was a policeman, Albert Alexander, dying from a severe infection that had spread from a simple scratch from a rose thorn. The results were miraculous. Within days of receiving penicillin, his fever dropped, his infection receded. He was recovering. But their triumph turned to tragedy. They ran out of the drug. Their makeshift factory couldn't produce it fast enough. The infection returned with a vengeance, and Albert Alexander died. The heartbreaking loss proved a vital point. Penicillin worked, but they needed a way to make it on an industrial scale. With the war raging, Florey traveled to the United States. There, American pharmaceutical companies took on the challenge, developing new deep fermentation techniques. By D-Day in 1944, there was enough penicillin to treat every single wounded Allied soldier. The wonder drug had arrived. It transformed the battlefield, and soon it would transform the world, conquering diseases from pneumonia to syphilis. Alexander Fleming, Howard Florey, and Ernst Chain were awarded the Nobel Prize in 1945. Their combined efforts, sparked by a moment of chance in a messy lab, had saved hundreds of millions of lives. It was a testament to how one man's curiosity, followed by a team's relentless determination, could change the course of human history forever. Subscribe.